Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us here today. I'm your host, Leah Masten for Top Industry Professionals TIP International Radio Podcast, where we are showcasing prestigious top professionals from all industries all over the globe to share their experience and stories of success. My amazing co-host is here with me, and we are so honored to have her as a host of the show. Originally from Namibia, she was crowned Miss Universe in 1992. Please welcome Michelle McLean.
Hey guys, hi listeners, and wow, it's almost Christmas celebration time. But we had our own celebration, right, Leah? And we've got our wonderful Dr. Bhayani here, who obviously we had such an awesome time at this gala awards. We are here to tell the story. Well, without further ado, we want to welcome our very special guest, all the way from Texas, who's a leader in the healthcare industry. He's an infectious disease specialist who is an expert in detecting and treating difficult to treat diseases, such as HIV or foreign country airborne infections. Now, that's a mouthful. So it's foreign country airborne infections. Now, we want to hear all about this. But most recently, you've been involved in the diagnosis and treatment and developing infection control plans for COVID. We want to hear all about that too. He's assistant professor of internal medicine at Texas Christian University and the University of North Texas Health Sciences School of Medicine. And he was just recently honored at the IAOTP's annual awards gala at the Plaza Hotel in New York, where we had a lot of fun. And you were also recently honored as Physician of the Year by IAOTP. Everyone, please welcome Dr. Nikhil Bhayani. Welcome, and we are so excited to have you as our guest today.
Thank you. Good morning, and happy holidays to everyone. It's a pleasure, joining you guys this morning.
Yes, happy holidays. We're so excited to have you.
Thank you.
Dr. Bhayani, you have close to 2 decades of experience as a world-renowned infectious disease physician. Tell us, what got you involved in this industry? Was it always the career path you wanted to lead?
Sure. So, probably I trace it back to my undergraduate days when I was a biology major, and I was fascinated by cell biology. And this is, of course, the mid-90s, where HIV treatment is coming up to the forefront, and that really caught my attention. And as I, further moved along, read everything that would pertain to cell biology, and I was just fascinated by the way, the HIV treatment and the way the virus here attacks the, our cells that make up our immune system. And it just always, that curiosity always interested me that, look at how small these cells are and how brilliant are they in communicating in trying to protect our immune systems. And especially now with the HIV treatment, it literally blocks the viral replication at every level, so that way your cells are protected and the human body is the immune system is not compromised. So that's what really caught my attention back when I was in college.
So just to ask you, were you part of the initial scientific development of the HIV drug?
Actually, I was not. I was still pretty young. I was not even I was still pre-med.
Right.
But in terms of later on in my career, where I trained at University of Illinois in Chicago, my mentor actually in my research attending, he was actually on the forefront of the development of HIV therapy and actually was quite involved in setting up the first known HIV outreach clinics, which became a model for various large cities. So I had the privilege in working in one of these HIV clinics when I was an infectious disease fellow at University of Illinois in Chicago.
So that's just amazing that you had that contact. And just, I'm sure our listeners are very interested. What does a typical day or week look like for you? We know that you're working on these highly scientific things, but you're just an ordinary guy, right?
I am. I'm just an ordinary person doing an ordinary job, actually for me, when I was a full-time, being a full-time clinician, literally I would start my day like around 7:30 in the morning and probably finish up around later on, probably in the evening around 6:37, just seeing patients and of course being involved in some of the medical leadership meetings And the reason we have these meetings is because we're trying to keep, our patients safe. We also want to make sure that our patients are getting the proper care, and also keeping our colleagues safe also. And then eventually 3 years ago, I moved up a little bit more of an administrative role where I became a physician advisor for Texas Health Resources. And my part-time is clinical work.
So I'm sorry, I'm trying to visualize. So you spend more time in the office than you now do with patients. Do you miss that?
Actually, it's a good balance. Let's put it that way. And, one thing that's nice is that spending more time in the office and spending time in the clinic, and in the clinic and the hospital setting, a lot of physicians, tend to gather more respect and will buy into your methodology because they know that you're seeing both ends of the table. You're helping the patients, and also you're more on policy making and administrative side also.
Being in healthcare the past 2 years and working in hospitals during the pandemic must have had a tremendous impact on you both personally and professionally. Tell us how COVID has impacted you and your life.
I'll tell you, in the beginning, there was a lot of unknowns, and the personal story that I'm going to share is that, back on March, that first week of March of 2020, we were in Paris. And when the world shut down, we were in Paris. And of course, everybody's calling me, texting me, emailing me. It's like, oh, hey, how are you going to get out of here? You're an infectious disease specialist for a system. And I was like, we're going to get out of here. It's not like we are trapped. But literally, I remember going to Paris's Charles de Gaulle airport. Literally, by the time we got to the airport, watching the news, everything had shut down. I was like, wow, we were just at the Eiffel Tower yesterday. It's closed. The Louvre is closed. And literally every day I was like wondering what's going to be coming up next, what's going to happen tomorrow, because there was no treatment. Yeah. Patients are coming in sick. We could not even get routine testing. I remember calling the health department just to get testing done. That was based on the CDC guidelines. Now we have home testing, drive-through testing, and we at least understand and we know a little bit more of the virus, and we got even the vaccines.
Yeah, it seems like there was a lot to deal with, not only logistically and bureaucratically, but also you being on the front line, having to actually make sure that people are protected. It's overwhelming, I think, in my mind, that that you're in this industry and that you see this every day. And there's so many questions I have around it, but we got to share with everybody, during your illustrious career, you won numerous awards, honors, and you were featured in the magazine. Last week, you were honored by the IAOTP's annual awards gala at the Plaza Hotel for your selection as top physician of the year. You appeared on the famous Reuters billboard in Times Square. You graced the front cover of Tip magazine. You're a real celebrity. You were also selected to have a chapter dedicated to you in the IAOTP's Top 50 Fearless Leaders publication coming out in 2022. So congratulations. What an impressive career indeed. And I'm sure that there must be some highlights or something that stands out for you that's memorable in this very busy career that you've had.
Thank you. Well, I'll tell you what really stands out, and it's really humbling to be recognized by an extreme esteemed group of people. And the first thing I always ask is, what did I do to deserve this? And number two, what really stands out is it was my third year I've been in practice, and we have this top doctor award for the physicians in Fort Worth. And every April they recognize the top physicians in the city. And I've just been in practice for 3 years. And when my office manager comes up to me and goes, hey, you're not going to believe this. We just got a phone call. You're one of the top physicians in Fort Worth. And I've been in practice only for 3 years. And when I go down that list, the first time around, I still have a copy of the magazine from 2011 where I'm looking at the list of physicians here, and I was like, these are esteemed doctors that I work with. and they've been in practice and very well respected in their profession. And here I am, just barely made it. I mean, I'm in practice, and I really felt like, this is a real honor. It really meant a lot to be recognized with other senior physicians who are pretty well accomplished. And I just looked at that as an opportunity for bigger and better things in life. And, of course, I have to thank my family, friends, and colleagues for helping me and supporting me along the way.
And aside from your successful career, you're also a physician advisor for the Quality Patient Safety and Infection Prevention Departments of Texas Health Resources. You are a sought-after speaker, have authored numerous publications and journals, active in your community with organizations. So tell us about that.
It's definitely a good, of course, that's the first thing everybody asks me is, how do you manage to juggle all that? And, I've been very fortunate with the people that I work with in terms of publications and journals that usually I've ended up like co-authoring, and I collaborate with other people. So, I tell folks that, you guys deserve the credit too. Like, I remember we had a publication that made it out into one of our infectious disease clinical practice journals. And I had a pre-medical student. She was a master's student actually in public health, and with an emphasis in infectious disease. And I told her, this is a case that you and I discussed. I really want you to write something up, because this is something that's going to help you boost your career, getting a medical publication, and I'll help you co-author it. She wrote that. Within 6 months, it got published. Lo and behold, of course, now she's in medical school. And, she really turned down and looked at me like, thank you so much. This is probably the best thing that has ever happened. And thank you for giving me the opportunity. And also it makes me feel good because I'm able to give the same opportunity to others and help them elevate their career path.
Well, that leads me into my question. As a mentor, what is the first advice you'd give to anybody wanting to enter your field?
The first advice I usually give is, I always tell everyone, be yourself, be natural. Number two, work hard, put your best effort into what you really want to do, because even if the task is difficult, still put your mind into it. You will overcome the difficulty.
I love that advice.
Yeah.
When not working, you're so busy. Do you have time for any hobbies? What do you like to do for fun or hope to accomplish in the next 5 years?
Well, as you probably know that, I spend quite a bit of time in the gym.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm a big NFL, and NBA fan. Actually, I love to go to the NFL games. As a matter of fact, I try to go to as many Cowboy games during the year, even though I'm a Chicago Bears fan, but just enjoy watching professional football. And then my alma mater, University of Utah, is in the Rose Bowl. So really that has caught my, definitely, when they went to the Super Bowl, of course, I had goosebumps, because that was like, wow, you're going to be playing the Big Ten champion. But usually more into sports, watch basketball, spend time with the kids, go out shopping, go try different cuisines, travel. Of course, that has kind of gone down due to COVID. And, that's why we were excited last week to be in New York City. So definitely it was a great change. And it was a pleasure just getting out into like a gala type event, which I've not done in almost over 2 years.
Right.
And tell us about your family background. Where do you come from originally?
So actually, my parents are from India. I was born in Virginia, raised in Utah. My wife is from India. So, and of course, my older son was born in Chicago. My younger one was born here in Dallas. So, actually, when I talk to my parents, my brother and I are probably the first generation American-born Indians in the family.
Right. And there's something incredible about the Indian culture is that you keep it so pure. It doesn't matter where you live in the world. You know, I come from Southern Africa, and the Indian communities there just, they follow their traditions. And obviously my favorite food is Indian food, and got to travel India. So I've been very fortunate.
Right.
But it really is, it really is a fascinating thing that as Indian communities, you really stick together.
It really is. And even though we are, you know, we consider ourselves American, but still, you know, we're pretty much ingrained into the culture. And probably that's thanks to our, you know, parents also. That, and, you know, I tell folks, and even the younger generations, that, you know, even though you're an American, trace your heritage.
Yeah.
You know, because when I was when I was a freshman in college, I took a history class called "What is an American?" The professor went around our small class and pointed to everyone, okay, what's your ancestry? What's your ancestry? I mean, nobody's going to come out and say, yeah, you know, I'm a full-fledged American. Well, you know, a lot of folks, of course, had European heritage. For us, it's Indian heritage. And that's what makes this country unique. You know,
Yeah.
We're a melting pot of cultures.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And that's, I've been here now for 7 years, and I love it because, you know, you get to know everything. You can be an American, but you get to have this melting pot of different cultures and experiences.
Right.
And there's something I wanted to ask you. Do you believe America is probably giving more opportunities to students around the world than any other country in the world, in terms of, for instance, if my son had to go and study engineering in Southern Africa, he wouldn't have half the opportunities he has here, getting a master's, getting a PhD, because there's so many more experiences and opportunities to have. Would you agree with that?
No, definitely, it is. It is very true. I mean, especially in any profession, you know, I would say more than 50 years ago, that's when my dad came here for graduate school from India, because the opportunities were plentiful. And the same thing, and that's why a lot of folks from around the world want to come to the United States to study. But as the world is getting more, is becoming more global, a lot of folks, I feel, are just coming over here, get some experience, and then they go back to their, you know, native country to make an impact as expatriates. And we see the same thing in the medical profession too. There's a reason why there's so many Indian physicians here from India. It's just because they have the opportunity to come here and provide, you know, further their education, but also they provide the best of healthcare, just because the way they have been trained over there. Some of the better known physicians that I know are actually from India, and a lot of older physicians who are close to retiring, they pretty much head back to India and set up their practice over there just to provide for their communities. So, you know, definitely there's ample opportunities in any industry here.
Leah, I don't know if you have any more questions, but I have got another question. But
Sure.
go ahead first.
You go. It's fine.
I'm just on a roll here. I wanted to get your thoughts on, and we didn't have a chance to speak at the gala event. Recently, South Africa, having some of the best immunologists in the world, came out with this new Omicron virus, right? And we, unfortunately, in Southern Africa were hit with the responsibility of, oh, it's a South African strain. And it caused huge economic and tourism issues in Southern Africa. What would you say to something like that? How was it handled? I mean, clearly it wasn't handled correctly, right?
I would say in the first couple of days, it really was not. And if anything else, you know, everyone's like putting the blame on South Africa, but really from an infectious disease perspective, South Africa has one of the most advanced, you know, viral sequencing and immunological, you know, testing. And if anything else, we should be thankful for, hey, thanks for identifying this variant, rather than just saying, here, let's just shut the whole world down and keep people from South Africa out here. Because the first thing you never want to be abrupt. Number one. Number two, you really want to look at, okay, let's analyze everything first. Analyze, and then decide on what is going to be the best approach. Perfect example is that, you know, I actually am traveling next week to India for a conference I'm speaking at. And when this information came out, immediately the Indian government said, okay, you know what, we're going to start restricting international travelers.
Yeah.
I had just gotten my visa, about to go speak. It made me a little bit nervous that, you know, why are you guys doing this? You also have not analyzed all the data, all the facts. Let's just take a deep breath and let's be very fortunate that, you know, South Africa has provided some information on this strain. And let's hope it's not as bad as it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's unfortunate that the media sometimes is not controlled in the right manner, and it makes your job as scientists and, you know, world-renowned physicians to actually do your job properly. So, hats off to you though for continuing the process.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for everything.
No problem. Thank you so much
for your time today. We're so honored to have you on the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
How does everyone get hold of you? Can you give us your details?
So usually people get a hold of me by through my cell phone, email. As a matter of fact, I tell people text or email me. Yeah. I mean, sometimes I even get messages from nurses on my Facebook Messenger too.
Right. So what is your details for getting through to you? Say for instance, on your website or on email?
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that again?
Do you have an email address for us, for anyone to contact you?
Yeah. Actually, the one that you guys send me the link on here, that's the email address you guys, I think you guys already have it, right? At nbhayani@dfwid.com.
Yeah. Well, maybe you want to just say it to our listeners, because
sure.
I can't memorize it. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. No, that's my email address, the nbhayani@dfwid.com.
Okay, wonderful.
Perfect.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I had so much fun here today. Thank you so much for your time. Send all our love to your wife. She's such a star.
Yeah, she's adorable. It was so fun meeting her.
She had a great time with you guys, and it was a pleasure. She's actually in India right now visiting her parents.
Well, do send our love and a safe journey.
Certainly. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Thanks to you, Doc.
Thank you.
Bye.
See ya. Bye.